Atheist Alliance International podcast.
I don't make this stuff up.
You know, if you put Jesus Christ first, that he'll look after all your bills.
It's not fake, it's faith.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of AAI's webcasts. I'm Jason Sylvester, aka Diogenes of Mayberry, and this week we have one of our AAI members. He's the Regional Director for Asia and the Co-Director for our Atheist Support Network, Tonoy Alam. Welcome, Tonoy, and thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here, mate.
Yeah, so Tonoy has a rather interesting story. He's originally from Bangladesh and was a blogger there. And as some of you may know, there's been some episodes of violence against bloggers in Bangladesh. So Tonoy is here to talk to us about his journey and his experiences in that and his journey to AAI and being co-director of the Atheist Support Network and sort of what he's been doing there. So Tonoy, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about your life back in Bangladesh?
I was born in a moderate Muslim family, so my family religion was never a big thing. Still, I had to practice religion, especially at school. When I was growing up, like I was 14, 15, and in the school, there is this discrimination taught to us in front of our Hindu friends and Christian friends, that people from other religion, they are going to be burnt in hellfire for eternity. This was something I couldn't cope with. Like this raised question to me, like just because they pray differently or they pray to a different God, why should they be going to hell for eternity? That was the first point, and later I started asking questions. And growing up in an Islamic country, when you ask questions, you are always told just obey. Do not ask questions. Do not ask the rules of Islam. When I grow up, 23, 24, I moved to Australia for a study. There, Australia is a secular society. I have seen a different kind of life there. And those questions I had, it just renewed. I started blogging. It was a time in Bangladesh, community blogging was very popular. And there is this site called muktamana.com. Muktamana.com, if you translate it into English, it is free thoughts or free thinkers. The founder of the movement was Avijit Roy. He was killed in 2015 by the extremists. Bangladesh, actually, it was the time Bangladesh has seen heavy violence against the atheists, especially the atheist writers. From muktamana.com, my another friend, Ananta Vijay Das, he was killed as well. A few of my other friends, they were killed. I found myself is in a hit list of bloggers. It was also the time I started writing about social justice issues in Bangladeshi prominent newspapers and for think tanks in South Asia. That made me a target of Al-Qaeda terrorists. In Bangladesh, actually, there is a group, it's called Ansar al-Islam or Ansarullah Bangla team. They're dedicated. The mission of this terrorist wing is to kill the atheist bloggers. From 2013 to 2017, we have seen killing of 20 bloggers in Bangladesh. The last one was 2018. Also, the Bangladeshi government started discriminating against the atheist bloggers. It is all right in Bangladesh to be an atheist. Bangladeshi constitution gives you rights to choose your religion, or you can be irreligious. But if you write about religion, if you have religious feelings, the government will book you. They created a law in 2013. It was Section 57 of the Bangladeshi, what was the call of the law? Okay, Section 57 of the ICT Act. Now they have morphed into another law, which is Digital Security Act 2018. And this law is created, like the only purpose of this law is to put atheist bloggers in the jail. Currently at Atheist Support Network, we are actually working with 2 Bangladeshi bloggers. Both of these bloggers, okay, I'm not going to name them for security reasons, but both of these bloggers, they were in the jail, and for 2 years they were tortured by the police. They were tortured in jail. They were without a trial. They were in prison for 2 years. Now their trial is started, and the trial in this law means you can be jailed for 10 years.
Okay. And so, from your experiences there dealing with these issues in Bangladesh, this is what brought you to AAI, correct?
Actually, with AI, my relationship with AI goes back to 2016, I believe. In 2016, I was volunteering for AI's news team. But as you know, it was the time AI was not very active, and AI was going through a tough time. Later in 2000, I had this friend of mine who is a Bangladeshi blogger, and he needed some support for his asylum case. He's on a hit list too. I contacted Tina for a support letter. Tina Hamilton is the director for Atheist Support Network. She does an amazing job. Tina asked me if I was interested in volunteering for Atheist Support Network, and this is something close to my heart. And I just immediately accepted. Then after a few months, I was the co-director of Atheist Support Network. And in the last election, I was elected in the Asia region.
Yeah, you've been quite a force within both the board and the ASN. I've seen the work that you've done and the passion that you bring to it. So you became in the last year you became co-director of ASN, or it's been a bit longer than that?
No, last year.
Last year. Okay. So are you comfortable talking about some of the cases that you've been working on?
Yes, we can talk about cases, okay, but for the security, we may not mention their names.
That's fine. Very prudent. Okay,
so we already have talked about 2 of the bloggers who are from Bangladesh. These 2, as I said, Bangladesh has a de facto blasphemy law, which was Section 57 of the ICT Act 2006, now morphed into even a more draconian law, which is Digital Security Act. This act gives the law enforcement agencies right to arrest someone without a warrant, detain them, and detention in a country like Bangladesh means torture. And they can be held in prison, okay, without a trial for indefinite time. Also in prison, or when you go to prison in a country like Bangladesh, where most people are Muslims, criminals there, okay, and that these bloggers are probably a ticket to heaven. So these bloggers are tortured there, even in prison. They are at risk of being harmed in the prison. And this law states that prison imprisonment could be 5 years to 14 years plus a hefty fine, both, and could be both. We just recently we have been working with LGBTQ rights activist and atheist activist from Egypt. We are like this is beyond happiness. She has recently been relocated to Europe. She found an internship, and we helped her to escape Egypt there. We recently put a blog post. You are involved in that blog post as well. But a few other cases I wanted to mention is 21 from a Tunisian girl. She is 20. She was at risk of honor killing when she reached out to us. This girl is amazing, like totally amazing. 20-year-old, full of life. Her father passed away. They're like 3 brothers and sisters. Her father passed away when she was 9 years old. She has been working since she's 16. And she was studying as well. Now, her fault was she was talking to boys. And that's why her brother wanted to kill her. Like, continuously tortured in front of her mother, and the mother cannot do anything about it. This is how probably Islamic societies work, okay, that the woman has a lesser voice. When she reached out to us, her brother was continuously threatening, we are going to kill you. And one of her friends was also killed by her brother, and she was like really frightened. Immediately, we moved her to a different city. We have a monthly stipend for this girl, for her accommodation and study. And she is now the top student of her class. Like, she's an amazing girl. We recently, another Egyptian LGBTQ guy, his asylum is granted in European Union recently, so we rescued him too a few months ago. We are working with a case, a Turkish person. He is also in Europe seeking asylum. We helped his escape. Okay, his fault was, one, he was criticizing religion, and he also challenged the existing orthodoxy in Turkish case, that is the Turkish President Erdogan. They arrested him, tortured him, so somehow he got a bail, and then we helped him escape. And currently he's with us. We are supporting his asylum case. Hopefully we'll get some good news. We have, like, these are the few of the cases. We currently have 50 cases. I just, before I came here, I looked into the spreadsheet. We currently have something around 50 cases, and more cases is coming because of the Afghanistan situation there.
Okay.
Like,
so for the viewers that are watching, what would be the one thing you would like them to know about Atheist Support Network, or that you would like to say to them?
Okay, we are a voluntary organization. Our team consists 20 people almost, and these are high-profile activists. I'm sorry for that disturbance.
No worries. Yeah, so you were saying about our volunteers, our 20 volunteers.
Our volunteers are high-profile atheist activists with experience. Okay, I'll have to go turn my phone off, and I'll be back in a minute. Is that okay? I'm so sorry for this, but should have done it before.
Yeah, so while we wait for Tono to come back, so as he was saying, we have a very dedicated team of volunteers. Many of them are Arabic speaking, so they can. Most of the people who write into us are from Muslim countries, so many of our volunteers are Arabic speakers. So, Tono, just while you were gone, I was just sort of filling people in on the majority of our caseload. So, okay, so you were talking again about our volunteers.
So the other aspect of our volunteers, aside from their activism, is that they are persecuted. So we understand what persecution is, and that's where our passion comes from. Okay, I can name a few, like that Rish Smart. He was the founder of ex-Muslim of Sri Lanka. We have Nosha Mohammed, okay, from Singapore. These are the people. They are ex-Muslims, and they have the history of persecution. So the passion in our team, passion matters. You always see that. Okay. Also, we have volunteers from across the globe. So we understand the problems there. It is not that whoever comes to us, we help them like instantly. We'll go through like intense scrutiny and examination of the case. We have sources in most countries where most persecution of atheists happens. We'll discuss with our sources, of course, with consent of the clients. And our sources are mostly very trusted. One problem we have is funding. Atheist Alliance International tries to, whenever we go to Atheist Alliance International tries best to support us financially. But we actually need a little more money, okay? So that's why we are doing fundraiser and GoFundMe. Also, we are going to start a new fundraiser on Facebook. Hopefully, okay, some of the viewers and listeners, okay, they will chip in a little so we can continue our work there.
Such as supporting this girl in Tunisia with her rent and tuition and school fees.
Yes, of course.
That's where the money goes to.
Yes, that's why exactly the money goes to. Before, we are supporting an artist in Egypt. Also, we provide legal support to all these asylum cases. Sometimes all they need is to hide. We have to support them for money for hiding. And if someone legally can escape the country, we might help them with transport costs too, but that has to be legal. We have to support. Sometimes atheists are beaten and bruised and brutalized. We have to support them with treatment. Like the Egyptian case, who just recently got asylum status in Europe. He was brutally tortured by police. We had to support him with treatment. In many cases, we are supporting atheist students in Africa. So these are the cause. Okay, there could be like so many different types of difficulties they are facing.
So that financial need is always there, and why we rely on the financial donations from our members and supporters to help out in these kind of cases.
Yes, and our members and supporters, they're overwhelmingly helping us. But the volume of cases are it's just so large. Okay, we need more. It's as I said, right now we have 50 cases plus the Afghan situation. Not that in every case we will have to spend money, but in most cases, okay, they need financial support, at least to hide for a month or two, when they're at imminent risk of danger, we just cannot ignore those calls. So the need of money it's always increasing. Also, when you start doing good jobs, people hear about you, and more of those persecuted people comes to us. Okay, mostly now we are getting cases. Okay, aside from Afghanistan, it's an unprecedented situation. We are getting calls from countries like Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Egypt, Yemen, and okay, when it comes to Syrian atheists, okay, there is no way anyone can help. That's another thing. Okay, the disturbing thing that in Syria atheists are very persecuted. Not only in Syria, all over the world atheists are persecuted. The world doesn't care. It really it's like when it comes to, we talk about religious freedom. Okay, like the one of the cornerstone of religious religious freedom is that, okay, those persecuted minorities, they get asylum. But when you are an atheist, you do not get support from UNHCR just for being an atheist. But being an atheist, even in the West, okay, you'll have to face mental trauma. I was reading a research by Pew Research a few days ago that even in the United States of America, 50% of people has unfavorable view about atheists, like followed by Muslims, which is 31%. And we talk about Islamophobia like, it's a big thing. But persecution of atheists, no one cares.
Yeah.
But if you see it, okay, like from an unbiased perspective, atheists are the most persecuted religious minorities all over the world.
Or irreligious minorities, to be
Yes.
more apt in phrasing. So.
Yeah, but that when irreligiosity is also covered by the freedom of religion cause. So it's not just they just cannot brush it off like, okay, it is not freedom of religion. Not to follow or practice a religion is also freedom of religion.
Yeah, and I think from my research, I think of the, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but my research is a few years out of date, that there's something like 15 countries in the world where it's you can be punished for being an atheist, and 14 of those are in Asia, which is your region. I think one is in Africa, and every single one of them is a Muslim country. But 14 of the 15 are in Asia, such as Pakistan. Probably Bangladesh is in that list as well.
Bangladesh
so it's a huge challenge.
Bangladesh is not really on that list, and that raises a question. Okay, Bangladesh, countries like Bangladesh, India. Okay, I know that it's 13 or 15 countries where blasphemy is punishable by death. The apostasy in some countries, in 13 countries, apostasy is punishable by death, such as Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan. Bangladesh and countries like Bangladesh and India is not on that list. But here is, I don't know, okay, these countries says they are secular, they have a secular constitution because socially and internationally it is more acceptable. But as I said, Bangladesh has those draconian law. It may not be death penalty, but still it can be prison for 10 to 15 or 14 years. In India, okay, if you see the rise of Hindutva now, if you are an atheist, you are saying something about Hindu god and goddess, you can be killed. There are examples such as journalist Gauri Lankesh just a couple of years back. also like the local thugs, okay, which the local political thugs, okay, they will come, like, probably attack your house. It is happening like so frequently, and these are not reported in the mainstream media because they will say, okay, that's just the turbulence. No, when it comes to atheism, it's not turbulence, it's systematic all over the world. So it's not just 15 countries. It's like, as I said, even in the United States, okay, 50% people has like, unfavorable view of atheism, which is mental torture. So mental trauma is not very less than physical trauma. Okay, we know. So it's just atheist persecution. Even in I think in quite a few states in America, if you are an atheist, you cannot legally, like, within the legal framework, you cannot hold a public position.
I would think that would probably be deemed unconstitutional. I can't imagine that would go by. But I spent 20 years ago, I lived for 5 years in the American Bible Belt. And while I wasn't an atheist then, I certainly wasn't a church-going Christian anymore. And I definitely saw the societal pressure there to the evangelical Christianity is very, very strong there. So for an atheist to come out, to lose, to be judged by your friends and family, or even your coworkers. I had many coworkers who were constantly in my face. Oh God, this God, that. Oh, come to my church with me this Sunday. And so it is quite prevalent. But statistics, the Gen Z, are less and less religious. The Pew Forum did a statistic within the last year that evangelical Christians are now no longer the majority. They're actually, for the first time in history, are now just under the majority. So their rates are declining in the information age. So hopefully in the next generation, we'll see a lot of that shifting in the U.S. That attitude will disappear, of the hostility and mistrust of atheists. So, and a lot of that is up to the work of people like us and the atheist organizations in North America that are trying to raise the profile of atheism and to normalize it. I know a couple of weeks ago I had Randolph Richardson from Canadian Atheists on, and one of his primary goals in Canada is to normalize atheism and destigmatize it. So it's definitely an uphill battle. And definitely the people that you're working with at ASN who are in much worse positions, obviously, than people in a Western country. So
from my point of view is that it will take a lot longer than expected. We all know that the religious population in the West is decreasing. But interestingly, the religious people, they vote as a bloc. So they will always have that political influence.
Well, as their demographic numbers decline, their influence will decline with it. That block,
yeah, that's
will
definitely
drop.
For sure. But you need, like, we are living in like in this age, political conviction. You will not find too many politicians with conviction. They know what's right, what's wrong, but they will just go with the populism. That makes it hard. Like, it is, you do not have to be irreligious to do the right thing. We believe, like Abraham Lincoln or other leaders, who worked for secularism in America. They didn't really, they were pious people, but they did, like, in terms of secularism, they did the right thing. It's just a matter of conviction, which is lacking from politics these days.
Yeah. The U.S. is a bit of an outlier when it comes to religion and politics. There was, I think it was the Obama's first term election when he was up against McCain and the Republican primaries, if I remember correctly. And in the primaries, they asked the candidates who believed in evolution. And ironically, the Mormon candidate, I think he was the governor of Utah at the time, said, I do. And like next day he was out. His campaign was over the very next day just for saying he believed in evolution. So the U.S. is definitely a bizarre country when it comes to Christianity and politics.
Plus the conspiracy theorists now.
Yeah. Well, those demographics are shifting. Maybe not as fast as we'd like, but they're shifting, and there seems to be a lot more atheists in Muslim countries, as we're discovering through the support network. There's quite a few in Muslim countries who are secretly coming out. I worked in Pakistan in 2018. I actually met quite a few atheists there, but they're mainly amongst the highly educated, people with MBAs who've worked abroad. So they tend to be a little more open-minded, a little more cosmopolitan in their outlook, but they're definitely there. So
the problem with coming out as an atheist in Islamic countries is religion is a part of the social status there. So if you someone says, "Oh, that person is a good person," that has to he goes to mosques every day, or he went to Mecca. These are the social status. Like if someone wants to become a parliamentarian, first thing he'll do, the first thing in the bucket list is go to Mecca, perform the Hajj, and so they can have this title Al Hajj, or people. This is social status. In business to everywhere, that person, he is a pious Muslim, so his business must be good. This makes it really hard for an atheist to come out as well. Aside from the persecution, there is a risk of persecution, but the social bonding, and probably they would be boycotted by the society, or that someone is working in a higher position, that person, they will have to face that, I probably lose my higher position, or my prospect in my career, may not be as same. Like even in Bangladesh, as I said, since we are supporting persecuted bloggers there, we have lawyers there, lawyers who are supporting us, but they will not come out as an atheist.
Yeah, it's prudent on their part. They need to be careful in those kind of countries. I know back when COVID first started, I'm also on the ASN team, and I know when COVID first started, we were getting a lot of requests from people saying, "Get me out, get me out." I'm like, "But the borders are closed. There's nothing we can do." Like, "Oh, but I posted something, irreligious, and now I'm in trouble." I'm like, "Well, you need to be careful. I mean, if you're living in one of these societies, and you can't get out, especially with the current travel restrictions, you need to be careful with what you're saying and what you're posting."
To be honest, sometimes it also, like from my experience, for many people, they want to, because of the lack of freedom. I would not say it is lack of financial freedom. It's basically lack of freedom, and people want. Freedom is one of our basic
freedom of
needs.
conscience, freedom of expression.
Yeah, the lack of freedom. People want to escape those countries, and they think that if they write something about atheism, they criticize religion, we might be able to help them. But to these people, I want to say that, please do not do that, because we cannot issue visas. That one thing. Also, if you are writing about it, there is no guarantee that the embassies will consider you. So you'll have to be careful. It is all right to be an atheist, but when you are trying to be an atheist activist, it can be really risky, and there is no easy way out. As I said, it's not just those Islamic governments, even the governments in the West, they do not really care about atheist persecution. I'm saying it with great, regret and with great sadness. It's just a fact that everyone knows that atheists are at risk all over the world, but no one really cares.
And those that makes an international headline, like the Christian woman in Pakistan who was acquitted of blasphemy, and then all the zealots lost their mind, and then Canada took her in because she had to go into hiding in Pakistan after it was announced. So
exactly. And right now I can probably name 100 atheists, who are probably at the same type of risk. No headlines. Like, if it happens in a country like Saudi Arabia, they will get some exposure. It's not because of that person is an atheist. It's mainly because it is Saudi Arabia. The person who is persecuted, they do not get the focus. And how you can say that? It's just like this. When in 2013 to 17, Bangladeshi bloggers, atheist bloggers, they got some focus. Same thing happening right now. Before it was the terrorists, now it's the government persecuting them, but they're not getting any exposure, or no one is talking about it. It's just we are at this stage. No one cares. I know people who are hiding in India, in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, and as we know, what disturbs me most is we know that atheist activists, they are actually quite educated people with skills. In their own country, they will have a comfortable life. And these people, just because they had a conscience and they wrote about it, they're living miserable life in different countries, asking organizations like us for help. But, our capacity is so limited. I wish the world, taking notice of that, but it doesn't seem like it is happening.
Yeah. Okay, so if we start to wrap it up, then maybe give us your thoughts on like what you would like to say to those atheists in their home countries right now, words of support, and maybe to our members and people who are watching, and what you would like to say to those two groups.
To the atheists, that Atheist Alliance International will support you no matter what. Be careful, but do not hide who you are. That if you keep hiding yourself, you'll just forget who you are. And whenever you need, you can visit Atheist Support Network page on Atheist Alliance International's webpage. Our email address is asn@atheistalliance.org. We will support you.
Well, we within reason, with our capacity will allow.
Within our reason, at least we will try. Even if you are going through emotional trauma because changing religion, like when you start disbelieving, it could be traumatic. Please get in touch with us. We can support you. We have a partners organization who helps in such issues. Also, if you are an atheist blogger and you are in trouble, just get in touch with us. Even if you are not in trouble, get in touch with us. We would like to hear from you, and we would like to have you in our network.
Agreed.
That's for the atheists, activists, and supporters. But mostly be careful.
Okay. And to our viewers and members, what would you like to say? To
viewers and members, thank you for your support. We are it is because of your support we can do the work what we are doing, but we actually need a lot more than that. So please visit our page. Be an Atheist Alliance International member. It is your membership fees that helps us do our job. Also, you can donate to Atheist Alliance International's fundraiser, which is Atheist Support Network's fundraiser. This might sound selfish, but that's what I really want to say. Please donate. Please become a member. And thank you very much.
And I will put links in the description for those who would like to donate, who would like to visit the page, either the ASN page or the donation. I'll put those links in the description. Please also remember to like and subscribe to this channel if you like what we're doing. And I'd like to thank Tonoy for coming on today and talking to us about his own journey as a blogger and living in Bangladesh and what he's faced and all of the efforts that he's put in as co-director of ASN. So thank you, Tonoy, for all your efforts and your passion and your dedication. And thanks also for coming on our show today.
I'm glad to be here, Jason, as I said before. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. You're very welcome, and I look forward to continuing working with you. So, all right, so that will wrap up this week's episode, and we'll see everybody again next week. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Okay, thanks for listening, and don't forget we're on YouTube, so follow us on YouTube. Just search for Atheist Alliance International, and please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're also on all of your favourite podcast platforms, so make sure that you follow us on there as well. See you next time.